faculty, staff, distinguished guests, family and friends, and political science majors of the class of 2010. One of the most valuable lessons that I've learned as a political science major is why I don't need an Xbox. I learned this on a dark and stormy afternoon, which in Southern California speak really means it was probably drizzling outside. We were sitting in PS 50, our comparative government class, and Professor Mike Lofsky was teaching us about the British House of Commons. In the middle, he stopped his lecture and said, "Now, here's something you have to do. Go to www.parliament.uk and watch a House of Commons session. You'll find it more exciting than the new Xbox." Perhaps Professor Lofsky's tip is why I'm really bad at Call of Duty Modern Warfare. But perhaps Professor Lofsky's tip is just one of the infinite discoveries that this political science degree program has filled us with. And yet, our major is often condensed into this question. So, you're a political science major. Are you going to law school? It's okay, I'm planning on doing that too. We may be, but we're more than that. For we have found not a path, but a purpose. Our purpose is rooted in the phrase that adorns the seal of our great state, Eureka, or I have found it. Our purpose is to eternally discover. We've been engaged in discovery ever since the first political science classes we have taken. We discovered new ideas when Professor Brian Walker told us about social policy from what you Americans would call Canadian socialists and we Canadians would call normal Canadians. We discovered new tools of analysis when Professor Lynn Vavrick played for us a song about an eloquent and optimistically titled song about Americans, Green Day's American Idiot. We discovered a new attention to detail when Professor Suzanne Lohman would ask us to make changes to our PowerPoints again, and again, and again, and again. Through lectures, presentations, and those papers that turned into all-nighters, we learned how to bring forth the knowledge begotten within us. Yet our discoveries are not really new. They are grounded in the discoveries of Bruins before us who, living and dead, have taken the same classes, donned the same robes, and faced the same fears that we do today. Their discoveries have shown us how to find peace, progress, and justice for others. It's what Ralph Bunche did when he brokered a truce between Arabs and Israelis in 1949, for which he later received the Nobel Peace Prize. It's what Tom Bradley did when all of Los Angeles was opposed to publicly funding the 1984 Olympics, and he worked to secure private funds to bring the Olympics here, the same funds that built the tennis center we are gathered in today. It's what Elinor Ostrom did when, just this past year, she became the first woman to receive the Nobel Prize in Economics for her work addressing the tragedy of the commons. From Bruins gone before us, we inherit not new discoveries, but a sense of discovery. We cannot replicate their deeds, but we should hope to emulate their spirit. To do so, we must be the ones to bring forward a new birth of discovery. I learned this while having the privilege to design and facilitate an undergraduate's political science seminar this quarter about privatization in the public sector. For the last class meeting, I wrote out several lecture points about the course themes. But then I read an address given by University of South Florida Judaic Studies professor Jacob Neusner. Neusner was asked to speak to a class of incoming students at Elizabethtown College in Pennsylvania in 1991. In his remarks, he summarized what American teachers demand of their students. Don't ask, discover. So, when it came time for me to summarize the course, I put away my notes and simply asked 3 questions. What have we done here that's been different than any other course you've taken? What did you learn that you did not know before? What should we do with this knowledge? And in their answers and their reflections, They shared more and reflected more than they ever could have if I had stood up and talked for 15 minutes. Our commencement today presents a chance for us as a class to ask these questions of our political science education. But what should we do with the answers? We can follow the examples of Bruins gone before us by turning our public education into a new public duty. As Professor Walker suggests, we might do this through choosing one of 7 pathways to citizenship. Becoming soldiers, public servants, politicians, activists, enlightened capitalists, artists, or environmentalists. Thus, we may become full citizens fighting on the battlefields of Afghanistan or legislating in Sacramento, writing letters or making art, or even by taking shorter showers. In each case, we can do the day's work needed to carry out our public duties. This is not a call for us to be civil servants, but to be civic people. This is what our training has been for. We learned how deliberation in Washington saved us from nuclear arms in Cuba. We evaluated the policies of past presidents. We debated each other in classrooms and coffee shops. And now we do not have the luxury of a prescribed path, but the burden of a discerning purpose. Our purpose has been, and will continue to be, to discover causes of strife and suffering in our world, to discover bonds that can be forged between peoples and governments, to discover solutions through the institutions we have forged since the beginning of civilization. Regardless of our politics, may we be united in our purpose. Some of us will go into law, some of us will go into politics, and some of us still have no idea what we're going into, myself included. Sorry, Mom and Dad, by the way, the political science department wanted me to tell you there's a no refund policy. But all of us, if we choose to commit ourselves to discover in the same way that those before us have done, we'll discover an everlasting sense of learning, an everlasting sense of fulfillment, an everlasting sense of purpose. Though our time at this institution is finite, though our careers may be finite, though our very existence on this earth is finite, what we can discover and what we can help others to discover is infinite. And if we remember this, we will stand ready to bring our communities, our country, our world forward, using the discoveries which have been imparted to us through the letters that will always be with us, UCLA. Congratulations, and go Bruins.